All right, more on Stafford, because as in the same division, the Jimmy Garoppolo situation continues to be unresolved. People are starting to make the connection. Hey, if Stafford's elbow ends up being a big deal like it was for Ben Roethlisberger 3 years ago, maybe Garoppolo ends up with the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, that really would be something, and I think it would take a lot for that to happen.
A lot.
At a minimum, he'd have to be cut. I don't think he's getting traded to the Rams. They would trade him anywhere else in the league. They would trade him and give a late-round pick to make sure he goes to that team instead of trading him to the Rams. It's not quite as bad as the Packers not wanting to trade Brett Favre to the Vikings, the Bears, or the Lions, but I don't think the 49ers are handing him to the Rams. But they may have to cut him August 30 when the rosters go to 53. He's not going to be on the Week 1 roster, and maybe if Stafford gets injured and can't play at some point after Garoppolo's available and is still unsigned, that's the only way it's going to happen.
That's right.
Either way.
That's the only way.
Either way.
Yeah.
Garoppolo's not going to be – they've already made it clear. Look, he's been with the team for 2 weeks. He does whatever he wants. He goes wherever he wants. He's not involved in meetings. He's not involved in practices, and he's okay with it because he and the team are waiting for lightning to strike somewhere and knock a quarterback out for the season. And if not, he's going to get cut, and he becomes a free agent really late in the game. But his only chance of getting anything close to $25 million is if that lightning strike happens. He knows that. The 49ers will get a nice return with draft picks, and Garoppolo gets far closer to 25 than 5 if it's this Vikings, Teddy Bridgewater, panic, our starter's gone, what are we going to do? Which is exactly what happened 6 years ago. Chances of it, minuscule, Chris, but it's clear now. That's what they're waiting for.
Yeah, yes. I think you explained it exactly right. They're going to wait for that, and he's willing to just because of what you said, even though it's probably hard, and he's going, man, I'd like to get somewhere and figure out my life. Well, do you want to get somewhere and figure out your life? Is it worth, losing maybe $15 million over it? That's where he's probably, okay, all right, I'll just wait it out. We'll see. Maybe I will, get lucky and get traded and be able to keep this contract. But yeah, it's a weird situation. It's very odd. I mean, it's really through the test of time or in the NFL history, I can't remember a whole lot like this where we're going, hey, quarterback that went to the Super Bowl, went to the NFC Championship game, got replaced, still on the roster, hanging around, working out, making things a little weird there in San Francisco altogether. But there's no way, like you said, that they're going to give him to the Rams, nor would it, if I'm Jimmy Garoppolo, I wouldn't want to go to the Rams either unless you knew Stafford was going to be out for like the year or like 10, 12 games, something like that. Other than that, you're going there and going, wait, I'm going to get in there, have to learn an offense real quick. I don't know how the hell that's going to go, and I might not do good, and then Stafford's going to come back and make me look not good when he knows the offense is going to come around throwing lasers. So I don't think that's necessarily the best situation for Jimmy Garoppolo either, unless like Stafford is completely out of the situation for 2022.
That really would be the ultimate deciding factor in the rivalry between Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. If McVay could absorb Garoppolo, assuming Stafford ends up being out for the year, and that's a huge assumption at this point, but I'm just saying the only way this happens, and if it would happen, my God, how compelling it would be to see what McVay could do with Garoppolo, and if he could get Garoppolo to take the Rams over the top. You mentioned it's kind of weird out there. That was one of the questions that Kyle Shanahan was asked on Friday when he met with reporters about whether or not it is awkward with Jimmy Garoppolo there and destined to soon be not there.
I didn't come up with anything. I mean, we have a real good relationship with Jimmy. There's no secret here of what the situation is. I think he fully understands the situation. We fully understand the situation. So we make the best of it. And Jimmy's out there. He's feeling better and better each day. I still see him. We have a real good relationship with Jimmy, and he's done some really good things here. So fans getting pumped with him, and our players still loving seeing him. That doesn't surprise me at all. I think you have to report, with the rules of the NFL today and stuff. You have to report. So we made it the best for both. I think if Jimmy wanted to be in every single meeting and wanted to do everything, for sure we would let him. I would guess that isn't what he would want totally. And when we asked him, that was accurate. He didn't totally want that. So he's just trying to get his body ready for hopefully the next situation he goes into.
One of the key ingredients to this, Chris, is that Jimmy Garoppolo has gone along with it. We talk about the Steve McNair situation from time to time. He knew there was a trade in place to the Ravens. The Ravens and the Titans weren't coming to an agreement, though, about compensation. McNair trying to force the issue by showing up and working out in the offseason and risking the possibility of an injury that would have made his $11 million cap hit, I think, at the time, something the Titans would have to absorb, even if he's not able to play because he dropped a weight on his foot or whatever may have happened if they had let him in. Jimmy's there, but he's not there. He's working out, but he's not really with the team. He's not in the meetings. He's not part of it, and he's going along with it because, again, waiting, being patient for that lightning to strike is his best play to get his $25 million. And, Chris, at the risk of jinxing Trey Lance, I don't know if I've said this on this show or elsewhere, maybe both. The lightning could strike with Trey Lance.
There's no...
If Trey Lance, if something happens and he can't play at all this year, who else would the quarterback be if Jimmy Garoppolo's still on the team?
They're going back to him. No doubt, Mike. I think it's a valid point. I heard you bring it up once last week in conversation. I don't think we actually talked about this on the show, but agreed. I mean, again, the 49ers are a Super Bowl team. They're a Super Bowl team. I mean, I'm not sure they weren't better than the Rams, really, last year as a complete football team. It's just the guy number 9 on the Rams put the Rams over the top. I mean, plain and simple. But this is a team that's real. It's ready to be had as far as the Super Bowl right now. And yes, I think your point there with Trey Lance, I mean, hey, I think you said this a few weeks ago. We saw Trey Lance twice last year. He got hurt in both games. Arizona hurts his knee in a collision at the goal line. Houston Texans, whatever week that was, 13, 14, hurts his thumb, right? Or one of the fingers on his hand. So, yes, this is a guy that's still raw, relying on athletic ability, a little reckless, not used to speed of the NFL, used to kind of being the main man out in North Dakota State and being one of the better athletes on the field, no question about it. And it is risky. So, I think that's probably another part why the 49ers are not in like some crazy rush just to, throw him out the door for anything.
Yeah, and that would be the ultimate irony. The guy that they trade up to draft ends up having the same durability issues that Jimmy Garoppolo had, which is ultimately, I think, the main factor that caused the 49ers to fall out of love with Jimmy Garoppolo. So, look, if it doesn't happen, now you can keep him past August 30 if you're willing to keep him on the roster. By then, though, the hay's in the barn. The preseason's over. But that Teddy Bridgewater injury happened at a practice, not in a game. It's possible he mostly tore the ACL in the game. I can't. They had a game against the Chargers in their new stadium like right before that, and I can't remember whether he took a hit in that game. I kind of think he did. But it's almost, remember when Deshaun Watson told us at the Super Bowl that his ACL was torn, he believed, during the game against the Seahawks, that great game where Richard Sherman sought him out and said, that's the best any quarterback's ever played against us, even better than Tom Brady. And then it went non-contact when he was just running in practice a few days later. So my point is, by August 30, there's still a chance. There's still a chance that even if the preseason's over at that point, and it will be, that something can happen between then and when Jimmy Garoppolo's contract becomes fully guaranteed. So I won't be surprised. I've assumed all along they'll cut him when they cut to 53. They still could choose to carry him on the roster.
Yeah.
They still could choose to do it, because the worst thing for them is we carry him all this time, we cut him, and the next day somebody's ACL goes kaflooey.
Right.
And Jimmy Garoppolo, and they could have had something for Garoppolo. I think they'll wait until the last moment before they owe him $25 million.
And the last moment is what? The day before the game?
No, I need to ask when that is. It's at some point before week 1, just like in days, maybe hours before the game. Whether it's when the roster's locked the Saturday before.
Yeah, it's something
whenever
like that.
it is, they'll be keenly aware of when that deadline is. Because if you are on the active roster at that moment, your salary becomes guaranteed as a practical matter. There's a provision in the CBA called termination pay. You can use it once in your career. If you've got 4 or more years of service and you get cut at any point after you were on the week 1 roster, you collect all that money. You get to double dip. You get all that money, and you can go play for someone else, and there's no offset. I remember Josh Freeman did that with the Bucks when they cut him in 2013. It was a huge amount, like $8 million that he walked away with. And it happens from time to time. And from time to time, what also happens, Chris, vested veterans get cut right before week 1 because the team doesn't want to be on the hook for their salary for the whole year.
Yeah, no, that's a big part of the game, certainly. And then, we see that every year too. Veteran gets cut, maybe gets re-signed week 2, to another deal, but the big chunk of change that he would have made before they got cut is no longer part of the equation. So, yes, that's part of the song and dance in the NFL, and I could certainly see that happening. I could see that happening to where Jimmy Garoppolo's on the street, week 1, maybe week 2 in the NFL. Oh, man, week 2, we're watching Sunday games. Someone gets hurt, ring, ring, ring. There we go. We got to call Jimmy G. And now he's in some team's, training or in some team's locker room that week leading up to week 3. I could see that being the case for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.